We just have to talk about Matt Gaetz. It's incredible to hear what he says about people who he truly feels are inferior to him. And by the way, a guy like Matt Gaetz, look, I'm Latino, and this podcast, the Rick Sanchez News podcast, this is a Latino perspective, right? And we got this figured out. We know who this guy is. We've known, trust me, if you listen to me, if you grew up in the United States as a Latino, you've known a lot of Matt Gaetz's, okay? Yeah, we know exactly who this guy is. That's why this comment that he makes here that you're about to hear about women who simply have a different opinion than him, this does not surprise us. Dale.
Why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. These people are odious on the inside and out. They're like 5'2", 350 pounds.
5'2", 350 pounds, you're ugly. You're inferior to me. If you're not as good looking as I am, you're inferior to me. If you don't have as much money as I have, you're inferior to me. If you're a Latino, for example, which I think Matt Gaetz is the kind of guy who would not use the word Latino. He would say spick, okay? I guarantee you that that's exactly the word that would come out of Matt Gaetz's mouth when describing someone like me. Just like he describes somebody who disagrees with him, a woman who he doesn't find attractive, you know, a fat, 350-pound thumb-looking person who is odious. And think about this, right? Think about this. Simply because they have a different opinion than he does. By the way, I understand that there are different opinions when it comes to abortions and the abortion issue. I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I've had to deal with this kind of thing. But because you disagree with someone, man, that does not give you the right to insult them. That does not give you the right to call them names. Unless, of course, you're the kind of person who grew up in such a way that you think you can get away with this. And that is who Matt Gaetz is. Matt Gaetz is presently being investigated. He apparently used Venmo to send $900, let me correct myself, to his wingman, his friend Greenberg, to his hit-up. His hit-up, according to some prosecutors, according to reports that we have read, are a 17-year-old girl, or is a 17-year-old girl. So his buddy would get him young girls, Greenberg. Greenberg has already admitted he was doing this. Now prosecutors are saying, well, everywhere you went, you were with your best friend, Matt Gaetz. Was he involved in this too? And he's saying, yes, he was. And now they have found this one Venmo receipt that he sent for $900 to be with a hit-up. And apparently they've traced it to a 17-year-old girl, so say some reports. Again, he has not been charged, just being investigated, to be fair. But at least according to the reports, that 17-year-old girl crossed the line from Florida, and that too is illegal. You cannot, according to law, take a minor and cross state lines, because that is what's called sex trafficking. If you take someone from one state to another with a promise that you're going to pay them or do something for them, and worse, they happen to be 17 years of age, you've got some serious problems. You've got some serious problems that you're going to have to contend with. And that's the situation that he finds himself out. And by the way, everybody knows this. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing. And here's what I happen to think is so different from us, right? First of all, before we get into that explanation, and this is the Latino thing too, as a Latino young man growing up, when I screwed up, and even now as an adult, if I do something that shames me, shames my name, or shames my family, for me, it's really, really, really important to feel that shame. We have a word for it in Spanish. I don't know if you know it. Those of you who are Latino will know It's called vergüenza. That's our word, vergüenza. Tener vergüenza. It's shame. It means when somebody catches you doing something untoward, you don't go out there and show your face. You don't go out there. No, you know what? You lie low, right? Is it lay or lie? You lie low, because you're embarrassed. You've shamed yourself. You've shamed your family. This is how we're brought up. Guys like this, they don't give a crap. He's been getting away with this shit his whole life because he's rich and he's privileged. We call it the Rick Sanchez News Podcast, and we're so glad you're there. You can find this podcast on Spotify. You can find it on Apple. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. And we're gonna give you a perspective on the same stories that you see on CNN or NBC or everywhere else, except we're gonna give you the Latino perspective because you're not gonna see a Latino perspective on NBC or CNN or Fox or anywhere else because it doesn't exist. And that's why we're doing this. By the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, you see that thing down there that says subscribe? Por favor, do it. Ándale.
Agua.